I must say, ladies, you all did exceptionally well.
A wide smile sat upon the Citadel commander's face, and even her eyes radiated immense pleasure. Linnet, Nixie, Alfreda, and Elvinia sat in chairs before Marika's desk.
So you're not mad that you had to come to our rescue?
Mad? Why would I be mad? That was a part of my plan.
Wait. You wanted to lure the Sparkle Guardians to us? That's why you had us so abruptly kidnap and place humans in the pods, didn't you?
Now, don't get your hair in a tizzy. None of you were in any real danger. I was watching and waiting to jump in at the right time. And yes, part of my plan was to lure the Magical Boys out. I had to get a good look at them after all. And I might say, I have defeated stronger foes, to be sure.
Well, I'm glad you came when you did. Nixie was almost fatally wounded. Had I not started healing him when I did, she might have died. So, did we get a lot of Anam energy?
Oh, we got some Anam energy. But more importantly, we got data.
Data? We're collecting data? I didn't know that.
Yes, well, your little friend there from R&D did a masterful job of adding that little detail into the draining pods. By the way, darling, your tech is top-notch.
Thank you. So am I in this meeting so I can explain the technology for the next mission?
Wow, we're being sent out again so soon? I mean, that's cool and all. I'm just a little surprised. Cyrene always took too long with reviewing our mission proposals that we usually waited a couple of days between deployments.
As you can see, that sorry excuse for a Citadel commander isn't here anymore. And you're not going out yet, as the technology still needs a couple more tweaks before we can really move to implementation. As for why you're here, Miss Elvinia, you're going on the next mission.
I am? Really?
Why, yes. After all, for what I have planned, I want you to operate the tech, while these 3 strong girls protect you. I won't be coming along with you this time, so I look forward to seeing what you ladies got.
Sour acid sloshed around Linnet's stomach, and it burns the inside of her esophagus.
So, what is the next plan?
For a long moment, the Citadel commander turned her attention on each of the Nymphian operatives and the one Arcanist. As soon as she gave each of them an equal amount of peeping, she grinned wider.
Oh, we're going to infect the humans with a plague!
Elvinia averted her attention from the group, which told Linnet all she needed to know. Elvinia had already known of the plan, or at least part of it. From the corner of her eye, Linnet noticed the other facial expressions. Alfreda's mouth was scrunched into a tight little line, while Nixie had her mouth open and ajar. Both of their eyes were wider. Linnet's own eyes were practically ready to fall from their sockets.
Now before you all start to freak out, no, the plague won't kill all of the humans. Yes, there will be some casualties, coming from the older folks and those with weakened immune systems, but most will survive.
How is this going to help us collect Anam energy? Is this some sort of distraction while we enact another plan?
Nope. The plan is only to infect the humans, and then collect the Anam energy from them directly.
As well as data.
Yes, as well as data.
Ma'am, may I please ask why you're so obsessed with data? You made special emphasis on it for our last mission.
My dear Alfreda, data is important for strategy and making the best decisions. Yes, we're here for Anam energy, but I'm here for the information gleaned from the process of Anam energy extraction and collection.
Back to Linnet's question. What does infecting the humans have to do with collecting Anam energy? If that's the whole plan, then where do we get the Anam energy from?
Why, from the humans themselves. The plague we're developing is a magical one. and it will be able to turn their diseased bodies into little Anam factories. If we're lucky, then maybe the Sparkle Guardians will get sick too, provided they are human.
Doesn't this violate the ethics policies and procedures set forth by the board of directors? I mean, we're not really supposed to severely affect the human population so drastically when we're collecting Anam energy.
Oh, we are not actively trying to kill anyone.
What about the people with weaker immune systems or the old people?
Those people could just as easily die to something else. Listen, according to the magical science behind the plan, we should be able to generate a lot of Anam energy. By collecting data, we might be able to figure out safer ways to do it. Elvinia, please explain the little construct thing.
So, I have been designing these tiny little constructs that are about strawberry size. They'll fly about and collect Anam energy particles from the air. Each construct is rigged with a mini extra-dimensional space within it, so they can absorb a ton of Anam energy. They also move swiftly and are noiseless, so hopefully no human or animal tries to mess with them.
She said that the humans are going to essentially be little Anam energy factories. What does that mean?
Well, I'm not the one making the plague. That's Glinda. But from how she explained it to me, is that the human's nervous system vibrates at such a rapid pace that it weakens their immune system temporarily. The nerves resonate fiercely that they start to give off Anam energy particles, which can be reconstructed into larger orbs of Anam energy. Because of the weakened immune systems, it'll be easier for humans to catch other things. The plague is an airborne infection that can only be stopped and ultimately cured by a single means.
Which is?
Elvinia said what it was, and to be honest, it was not what Linnet was expecting.
Now, once the party starts, all you four will have to do is sit at the mission headquarters and empty the robots as they return with their loads. If all goes well, then you shouldn't have to worry about those pesky Sparkle Guardians. And if they do show up, then you outnumber them 3 to 4. Does anyone have any questions?
No one did. It was a little after 5:30 in the afternoon, and under normal circumstances, the street would be packed with people just getting off of work. Oftentimes, large groups of co-workers would meet together in various pubs, bars, and the like. The city was surprisingly good about that, and it was something that Nicholas was going to miss. Nicholas didn't hang out with his co-workers at the university, as there was only one other graduate student in his department. The professors were always too busy, and he never wanted to hang out with the students in his class. Still, he appreciated the warm spirit that seemed to take hold of the people of the city. It wasn't like that today, nor was it crowded yesterday, or the day before. A strange virus had taken hold of the citizens of Duanville, coming out of nowhere and striking with a viper-like fierceness. Of course, Nicholas knew exactly who was to blame, and yet, this plan didn't feel like their other schemes in the past. No, this one was far more insidious. This illness made people weak, and then they would catch other things too. According to the news, there had already been deaths in the older population. Not many, but enough. What was worse, according to Dana, was both Tyler and Frankie were sick. Nicholas's heart twisted inside him as he walked down the empty sidewalk. Today, he was walking to Anthony's, but he hadn't been there since his disagreement with Tyler. Instead of his favorite restaurant, he had started buying sandwiches from the little sub place several blocks away from Anthony's. He would take long walks through the park and casually munch on his dinner while he thought. Somehow, the Sparkle Guardians would overcome the Nymphians, because they always did. Well, they always did before this new Nymphian showed up. Soon, Nicholas would be leaving this city behind. Bittersweet orbs of pain and guilt started slamming into him from all directions. Was he being selfish for wanting to leave? For wanting to pursue his PhD? It was something he had been thirsting for, even before they had become Sparkle Guardians. On the other hand, was he supposed to just give up on his own dreams? One funny thing about embodying the spirit of Hades was that he couldn't get sick. He was immune to any illness, so the virus didn't take hold on him. Nicholas didn't have any cool or flashy powers like his two best friends, but he was sturdy as hell. Surely his friends wouldn't die from the virus, right? Fiery acid splashed inside Nicholas as he pushed the front door to Anthony's open. As he expected, the dining room was empty, with only a couple of people seated toward the back. Dana was the only person serving, and she wore a blue mask over her mouth and nose. As soon as she noticed Nicholas, her eyes flared wildly.
Well, it's great to see a friendly face. I'm sure glad you're not sick.
Yeah, I can't get sick. Too bad the others can't say the same. Have you been getting sick?
Oh, I've been fine. It's weird, but my family got sick for a little bit, but I made them some soup and they recovered. Do you want to sit in a booth or a table?
Oh, a booth, please. And you said they got better? That's weird. I mean, good, but weird.
Dana led Nicholas over to one of the front booths and took his drink order.
Have you by chance mentioned this wonder cure to either of the guys? I know you and Frankie talk a lot.
Yeah, I dropped by their place and left some of the soup I had left over. Unfortunately, it's not working and they're still sick. I don't really talk to Tyler outside of this place. Have you spoken to him?
No, Tyler and I aren't on speaking terms at the moment. You said you gave Frankie the same soup? And it didn't work, but it worked with your family. I wonder why it didn't work with Frankie, but it did with them. Did you do anything differently?
Different. Well, I suppose the only real difference is that I also served my family tea with the soup.
Tea?
Yes, my family has always been really big tea people. The tea I served with the soup was mint tea.
Mint tea? Do you drink a lot of mint tea yourself?
I sure do. I drink a cup in the morning and a cup before bed. You know, mint tea is great for inflammation and does wonders for the voice.
Maybe the cure is in the mint then. What time does your shift end?
Oh, in like an hour. I have a couple of boxes of mint tea at my place. We can swing by and grab it, as well as some stuff to make soup and nurse the others back to health.
Great! Once we get them back on their feet, we'll focus on finding those damned Nymphians.
So, that brings up a great question. How are we going to find them? I'm still new at this whole magical girl thing, but is there a mystic technique or a piece of tech operated by a magical talking animal?
You have been watching too much anime. Don't worry, we'll find a way. We're the Sparkle Guardians.
Okay, first of all, there's no such thing as too much anime. Not to me, anyway. I'm gonna put in your order. Maybe you could text Tyler to get over to Frankie's?
Before Nicholas had the chance to rebuttal, Dana waltzed away swiftly. The violent acid inside him gyrated more fiercely. And yet, she was right. Nicholas took out his phone and started typing.
Hey, I know you feel like crap, but get over to Frankie's ASAP.
Screw you. I'm dying right now. I'm not going anywhere.
Stop being a whiny little bitch. I'm pretty sure that Dana figured out how to cure you. All you have to do is slowly walk your happy ass over to Frankie's. Or take a taxi, I don't care. Just get over there. You have an hour and a half.
Whatever.
I'll take that as a yes. I'm sorry you're sick. We're going to make you better.
K.
A single letter. Nicholas chuckled, if nothing else but to quell his own growing ire. Back and forth, zoom in and zoom out. Every 10 seconds or so, one of the smaller constructs zipped in through each of the tops of the windows. As there were 4 large windows in the building, the tiny Anam Energy Collectors would zoom in through one window, and 2.5 seconds later, another zipped in through the next window. Going clockwise, by the time it got back to the first window, a full 10 seconds had passed. How Elvinia managed to program that, it was beyond Linnet. Each of the little constructs flew toward the center of the room, where a large oval-like bowl device sat on a coffee table. The little collectors flew inside the bowl, made a single lap within it, and then released their energy into the bowl. The constructs soared back out through the lower part of the window, opposite the one they flew into. Watching it was like watching a fine dance, with all the members knowing exactly what to do and when to do it. The bowl had a pair of hoses that wrapped down and fed into square machines. Small orbs would be spat out through small conveyor belts, right into 2 opened infinity bags. Elvinia sat on a couch in the living room, and she watched the laptop screen passively. For a long while, Linnet admired her intense focus for the mission. But when she walked over to see what held Elvinia's attention, a small burst of spiraling warmth blossomed inside her. There was a taskbar along the bottom of the screen, but a large display of some kind of animated movie dominated much of the viewing screen. Nixie sat beside her, transfixed by whatever it was, and she calmly smoked her vape and blew it away from Elvinia. Meanwhile, Alfreda had a large, old-looking book opened in her lap. She sat in a high-backed chair towards the corner, opposite the one in which Linnet was in. Several rows of unsummoned statuettes were placed together before Alfreda on the floor. Linnet let her attention drift toward the open sky, and it was nearing sunset. They had been in that 3-bedroom house for the last week, and it was fairly uneventful. If she had to be honest, it was kind of boring. Then again, the alternative was much more dangerous. When Linnet had pursued a degree in Anam Energy Acquisition and Processing, she had learned all the basics: fighting, tools of the trade, and she had been sent to do some shadowing and intern work. But none of her previous experiences or knowledge had prepared her for this. In terms of theory, Anam Energy was a fairly straightforward industry. Nymphians wove spells and were out of sight from humans, collecting Anam Energy without ever devastating the population. At least, that's what the textbooks, lectures, and even on-the-job learning experiences revealed to her. This was not like that at all. It was gritty, dark, and the idea of causing living creatures to die grated on her. At the back of her mind, she always knew it could be a possibility, but perhaps a once-in-a-while crazy event. Marika had mentioned that the plan wasn't specifically designed to kill humans, although some might die due to complications. What would happen if she were directly ordered to kill? Latifa has always told her that she was too soft sometimes, and maybe she was right. Maybe this was not the right career path for her. But if this was not the right career path, what was? Both of the boxes started beeping, and the continuous output of Anam Energy spheres became less frequent. The beeping caused Elvinia, Nixie, and Alfreda to glance upward. Linnet was already staring at them herself. Elvinia started tapping on her keyboard.
Uh-oh.
What do you mean, uh-oh? What's wrong?
The constructs aren't able to collect as much Anam energy. They're returning with fewer and fewer, and it's continuing to fall with each drone.
What does that mean?
Well, one of 2 things happened. The latter is most likely, mind you. Firstly, one possibility is that humans are starting to die by the droves and are no longer producing Anam energy. I don't think that's what's going on. As from the data gathered from Marika's last endeavor showed us, humans produce more potent bursts of Anam energy as they are weakening, as the soul's trying to compensate. That leaves one other possibility.
Alfreda clapped her book shut and she placed it in the seat beside her. She stood up and repositioned herself over her battalion of statuettes.
Someone, most likely them, figured out the cure and perhaps told people en masse. Which means there is a great chance we're going to have company very soon.
Elvinia started typing on her laptop once more. A moment later, Nixie's eyes opened wide, and she pushed herself up off the couch. Elvinia's nose wrinkled up, and she even let out a small snarl. Linnet and Alfreda moved over to see what caused such a reaction. In the center of the screen was a sort of radar map, with a small building in the center of it. Small little dots were flying to and from the center. A large blip was approaching from the west, moving at a rapid speed, followed by two smaller, slower blips.
How do they always find us?
Alfreda moved over to her collection of statuettes, and she started using her magic. Elvinia typed furiously, and suddenly, the little constructs stopped flying into the house. A mask of seriousness coated the Arcanist's face. The blue dots on the screen started moving away from the center and towards the approaching blips.
What are you doing?
Making the first strike.
A series of loud explosions rumbled in the distance. It sounded like a firework finale, with near infinite pops, booms, and whistles. Rumbles of thunder roared over the explosions, and lightning forked across the sky. Hundreds of blue dots on the screen faded into the bullets.
Let's grab the bags and try to make a break for it, okay?
We can't run. Remember, this is our chance to show America we deserve to be here. We stand and fight.
Nixie beamed a whimpered look at Alfreda for a moment before nodding and moving toward one of the infinity bags. Linnet went to the other.
They're moving again. And faster.
Linnet tied the infinity bag to her belt and then took in a deep breath. Linnet's whole body started glowing with a brilliant white aura. Streams of energy flowed from her lips, and each one touched Elvinia, Nixie, and Alfreda. For a moment, they too became bathed in luminous power. The light faded, but the others glanced down at themselves with intrigue.
What was that?
It's a special song I've been holding back. I can't use it on myself, so it never came into play. It is the song of heroines, and you all will be able to react quicker, move faster, and hit harder.
I knew you were way stronger than you appear. Thank you.
Elvinia reached for her own infinity bag, and she placed her laptop inside it. She reached deeper into it and pulled out a series of items. One of them was a leather vest, another was a circlet, and the last was a staff with a dark green diamond at the end. Elvinia tossed the vest at Linnet.
Hurry, put this on. It will provide you some protection.
An army of clay soldiers filled the room, and they took defensive positions around the walls. Linnet put on the vest while Elvinia placed the circlet around her forehead, and she held the staff defensively. A massive lightning bolt struck the house and collapsed one side of the walls. From the gaping hole, Linnet saw the Sparkle Guardians.
Ladies, there are now 4 of them!
4? Great. There goes our numbers advantage.
Excuse you. We usually have the numbers advantage. Go.
This time, the Sparkle Guardians didn't posture. They didn't make any speeches. They just charged. Sparkle Guardian Zeus flew through the air and landed in the middle of the backyard. They hurled their lightning bolt forward, and it only smacked into several of the clay soldiers. Nixie, Alfreda, and Elvinia advanced closer, much faster thanks to Linnet's power. While she was no good at standing toe-to-toe with her foes, Linnet was damned good at buffering her allies. Linnet ran forward too, but she watched as the other 3 Sparkle Guardians entered the fray. The new Guardian was a woman clad in green, with a weird staff in her hands. What did she do? Linnet and her friends would no doubt find out. She positioned herself towards the back, and she decided to use another spell song, one that she would never sing when she was alone. Linnet ducked under a stream of water blasting toward her. It nearly clipped her, but she kept on singing. Elvinia pointed her magical staff, and arcs of green light blasted out. It struck Sparkle Guardian Hades in the chest, and he tumbled back. Sparkle Guardian Poseidon spun his trident around, smacking and shattering soldiers. Alfreda had placed a dozen more, and with Linnet's increased speed spell, the soldiers came to life with increased veracity. Clay soldiers advanced on the new Guardian, and the new Guardian slammed the end of her staff into the ground. Thick and spiky vines emerged from the yard, twisting around the soldiers. They broke moments later. Linnet's haunting tune was dancing on the air, and yet it was a bit longer before it would take effect. Nixie blew black vape smoke and engulfed the battlefield in obscurity. Lightning bolts and streams of water blasted out, yet they missed hitting any of her allies. Verdant beams of magic arced into the fog, and yet none of the enemies screamed out in pain or surprise. During all the confusion, Alfreda pulled out more soldiers to grow. When the smoke cleared, a large shield of vines, trees, and plants had swirled around the Sparkle Guardians. The vines unraveled, and the Sparkle Guardians charged. Wait, there were only 3.
Linnet, to the right!
She didn't see anything, but she threw herself back as quickly as she could. A savage gust of air whooshed past her face, and yet she still sang. She couldn't afford to stop. A green arc of energy curled through the air, and it struck an invisible spot. Someone screamed. Almost there. Linnet stared hard into the empty space, and she kept singing. One of the vines grabbed Nixie by the ankle and lifted her upside down. Nixie breathed violent orange vape, and the vine began to melt. Sparkle Guardian Poseidon sprinted toward Alfreda, and he swung at her several times. Alfreda dipped and dodged past the blows, but she was on the verge of failure. Elvinia narrowly missed getting struck by a lightning bolt, and in turn, she missed hitting Sparkle Guardian Zeus.
I've got you now!
A chromatic ring expanded from Linnet with extreme velocity, and it struck all 4 of the Sparkle Guardians. They all stopped a moment later, and then they started screaming. Their eyes became bathed in chromatic swirls, and they rolled around uncontrollably. Elvinia leveled her magic staff.
No! If you hit one of them, they will be freed from the spiraling prison of insanity!
The what?
It's my most powerful spell, but it takes so long to pull off. They're trapped within their own mind in a prison of spinning colors. It has a short duration, and if we hit any of them, they'll be freed.
So, should we kill one and then do the spell again?
I can only do it once a day. And it has a short duration. Like, really short. It'll get longer one day, but I'm just...
You don't have to justify it or defend yourself. You were amazing today.
Agreed.
Tactical retreat?
Linnet, Nixie, and Elvinia took out their crystals, and then they were engulfed in white light.
And that's when we decided to pull out. We didn't want to chance losing the Anam energy we collected, or perhaps losing one of our lives. The Sparkle Guardians are very powerful. I hope you aren't too terribly upset at us.
Alfreda, Linnet, Elvinia, and Nixie had returned an hour ago, and here they were. The weight of the silence and the prolonged, studious stare from Marika, the grim commander, sent chills down the back of Linnet's arms. Suddenly, Marika smiled widely.
Miss Linnet, there's more to you than what that cow Cyrene led me to believe. I would expect nothing less considering who your sister and mother are.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, as for the rest of you, why would I be upset? 1, you managed to pull a fantastic harvest of Anam energy. 2, you all proved you are quite formidable. Yes, you didn't beat the Sparkle Guardians, but you bopped them in the face, that's for sure. Thirdly, you all came back alive. And last, you all collected excellent data for me. Well done, ladies. Well done indeed.
Linnet peeked over at her three friends, and they all smiled back at her.